And welcome to the Bender Bunker, your one-stop shop for B-Bender related videos and a lesson we are calling Summertime Twang Fest 2. That's right, this is actually a sequel. There was a Summertime Twang Fest published here on the channel almost a year ago last summer, and didn't get much love for whatever reason. I'm thinking maybe it got lost in the travel time shuffle of summer, I don't know, but it is much like this one in the key of G and just chocked full of hot bending action, but for whatever reason did not get much love. So of course I thought, well, let's pick one that didn't get viewed very much and make a sequel to it, because that's gotta be marketing gold. But anyway, Summertime Twang Fest 1, there's a direct link to it. Definitely recommend checking that out. I just viewed it for the first time in almost a year, and I thought, wow, that's actually got some pretty good Bender licks in it. So this is a companion piece, if you will, to that one, the sequel, Summertime Twang Fest 2, in the key of G. It's got all kinds of bendy and peppy licks. Bendy and peppy. Doesn't that just kind of sound like the name of two cousins that you really hope don't show up to the family reunion this summer? Especially Bendy. He has a hard time keeping his pants on after a few beers, and Peppy just always encourages them. So let's hope they don't show up. But what is going to show up are these spirited licks to keep your bending skills sharp here in the summer months. Here's the lick in isolation, so you can decide if you want to apply the SPF and join in. Here we go. Again, it's in G. Hot licks for a hot summer. If that sounds good to you, go grab that bender. Let's get to it. Well, all right, there you are. Looks like you've decided to join me for Summertime Twang Fest 2, the sequel. Nice to have you on board. You know, we just don't feel like it would be right here in the bunker to put any kind of lesson out with the word summertime in it, unless we indeed did shoot it in the summer. And I can assure you it is mid-July here in Central Texas and quite warm. I saw a dew point on the weather report of 79 today, which I've now changed to the don't point, as in don't go outside, it's too hot. Don't shoot videos with the lights on. But we're gonna get past it with our method acting. You know, I feel like I gotta get a nice rosy glow in that summertime feel to really get this lick across. So let's get rolling with it. As I mentioned in the opening, we are in G. But we also have a C and a D change for those three chords. Again, like most of our lessons, three chords and the truth. That backing track is this. Keep the C and the D chord changes in our mind as we're working our bender licks, and I'll certainly be going over that and telling you where we are in the mix, so when we bring it back all together at the end of this lesson, it'll make sense. The opening lick to start us off in G and get us to our first C chord change is this. So let's start at the beginning. That's with your index finger. That's the one. Go ahead and place it up here on the top two strings on the 15th. And go ahead and engage the bender fully. We're going to come out with the bender guns a-blazing right from the get-go. So we've got the bender engaged, top two on the 15th covered with our index. We're going to up pick, starting on the high E, and then going to our B string, letting the bender down rather abruptly for this sound. Easy enough. Good news. Same finger, same top two strings, just on the 10th fret. Same bender motion. Even better news, we're going to do it again down here on the top two on the 3rd fret, which is really just an octave down from where we started on the 15th. So together in context. And the way I'm doing that is actually with the beat of the backing track. Alright, so we just came down off the top two on the 3rd fret on the bender. Backing track is going to C, which works to our advantage because we're right where we need to be for your primary bender twang box shape for C. Alright, and the way we do that is we come off those top three like we just did. We come off the top two on the 3rd. The bender's down. We're dropping our ring finger onto the 3rd string 5th fret, so now we have the top three strings covered. Once we do that shape, we're down picking, starting on the 3rd string and taking the bender all the way up for our C chord. So it sounds like this. So there we are. We've got the C chord bent and ringing. That three string shape, I should say. Ringing for C. Let's keep the bender fully engaged and let those three strings continue to ring out, because what we're going to do is we're going to take that exact shape, we're going to slide it in a very obvious manner. We're going to slide it up here so that your index finger is now on the top two on the 10th, And that leaves, of course, your ring finger on the 3rd string on the 12th. Same shape, just relocated up here for the 10th and the 12th. So it sounds like this. Right there. Bender's still fully engaged, notice that, okay? So coming off the final part of our first part, making our C chord bend, and then sliding it up here to the 10th fret on the top two, again with the 3rd string on the 12th. All right, that takes us back to the dominant G that we need when the chord changes in the background. So here we go. So now we're ringing up here in G. We still have the bender engaged, so let's take care of that. We're going to up pick, starting on the high E. When we get the B string, we let it down, and then we just note that 3rd string on the 12th. It's just 1, 2, 3, letting the bender down. And that sounds like this. So from the C chord bend down here, back up. Again, I really like anytime we can have a passage, this is probably my favorite part of the whole run, is when you can have a passage where the notes are ringing for you. You don't need to do anything with your pick hand, and you can get some slides, you can continue the audio of it without using your pick hand to simulate more of that pedal steel feel. All right, for context. So there we are. We just let the bender down for our G section of the backing track. Now the backing track's going to that 3rd chord, the D chord. What are we going to do about that? Well, we're actually in great shape again. This is ergonomically, if you will, correct for D, because all we have to do is, instead of having our ring finger on the 3rd string 12th, we're going to do our middle finger on the 3rd string 11th. We can let our ring finger up. So now we've got the top 2 on the 10th and then our middle finger on the 3rd string 11th. We're making the top 3 notes of a D bar chord, and that's going to work to our advantage of playing over the D backing chord that we got going on behind us. And that sounds like this. I'll come off the C chord bend back up. So we came down off this for the G. I dropped my middle finger in there, the 11th fret, and then up and down on the bender for the D. So all together. All right, so now we're going to go back to the dominant G, and we're going to do kind of a Roy Nichols situation here with the 7th thing. So I say 7th because that really is kind of a D7 chord shape, just taken up here for G. So now I've got my ring finger, high E 7th, index finger on the B string 6th, and then my middle finger on the G string 7th, making that 7th chord shape. Once we get that shape, we've got the bender pre-engaged for this. We're just going to go 1, 2, 3, starting on the high string, your high E. When we get to the B string, of course, we are going to let the bender down, and then we're going to finish on that 3rd string 7th fret. You know, very Nichols. I'd probably drop my pick back here to get more twang out of it. All right, so here we go off the C chord bend. Next part is this. So it's really kind of 2 Nichols parts together. What that is I just came off that G7th. I'm going to the C chord change. I'm going back to where we were for that C bend. Remember it? Right, that one? I'm making that shape. So index finger, top 2 on the 3rd, ring finger on the 3rd string 5th, right? So I come off the G7th bend, it is a bend because there's a bend involved. I'm using that shape I just described, your C chord bend shape. But what I'm doing is, once I have that shape in place, I am down picking starting on the G string, your 3rd string, but I'm not fretting the notes because I need them dead. Right? There's 3. Go down 3, and then when I get down, I come back and up pick that top note, your high E there on the 3rd string. I'm going to note that one when I come back on it. So it's 3 down, dead, and then 1 up live. Right? But as I go down with the 3, I'm also engaging the bender, because I go down with the 3, I come back, hit the high E on the 3rd there that's covered by my index finger, and then the very next thing I'm going to do is hit the B string next to it and let the bender down. So I need the bender pre-engaged. There we are in our C chord shape, right? Now the backing track is going to the dominant key of G to finish out, and we're going to do this lick. And the way we do that is we're going to go on our D string, our 4th string. We hit the D string open, and then we roll with our index finger on the 2nd and our middle finger on the 3rd fret. So it's one pick and a roll, right? We go to the G string next to it open. Right? And then we hop over here to the B string on the 3rd fret with our ring finger. And then index finger on the 3rd string 2nd fret. And when I do the 3rd string 2nd fret with my index finger there, I kind of give it a quick waggle. And then I end this whole run by hitting the G string open. So here we go. Do that final note of the 3rd string, G string open, slip behind the nut with my index finger on the 3rd and take it up a step and back. All right, all together for context. Now, a slight variation you may have seen me do in the intro is when I get to the what we call the Roy Nichols 7th part, I take this next part, instead of doing it like we just did it down here, I take it an octave up. It's the exact same run. It's just up here on the 15th, which is an octave up from where we were. So it sounds like this. And I just end up the same way. Do the same. Dealer's choice. You do what you like there. All right. That is it, my friends. We have done Summertime Twang Fest 2. Again, I do encourage you to check out Summertime Twang Fest 1, the original. Right there. Again, there's the link. And they kind of bookend nicely. That was unintentional. But when I did this, I realized I'd already kind of done something along the lines. And it happened to be, I just must think this way when the summertime comes. So if you enjoyed any part of this, steal the parts you like, make them your own. That's the whole point of these lessons. If you liked any parts of this, hit that like while you're thinking about it. Apparently that helps with some kind of YouTube algorithm, and I do appreciate it. Yeah, share it with other Twang and Bender friends that may not have seen it. If this is your first time at the Bender Bunker, welcome. And hit that subscribe button while you're thinking about it, because we do try and put out a couple of these a month, and it's easy to forget about us. So the subscribe button helps keep you informed of what we're doing around these parts. You know, it is hot, as I mentioned, mid-July. It would be tasty to have a nice ice-cold beer. And if you want to donate a virtual beer to the bunker, just go to the Show More section. There's an easy-to-use PayPal link. Beer in the summer, you can't beat it. They were made for each other. That's all I've got for you. I'm going to cue up the backing track, play the lick one time out, and we will call it a day. I will see you in a few weeks as we end the summer with hopefully more tasty Bender work. Until then, you know our motto. Say it with me if you know it. Is never too late to go on a summertime Bender, and I certainly hope you do, because I think summertime Benders are the best of all, if you ask me. And until then, just do me that one favor you always try and do if you can, you know, keep it bent. All right, see you next time.